Hello and welcome to this new episode of the Innovation Shuttle. It's another sunny day in Silicon Valley, California, and today we have kind of a different innovation in this episode. Today we talk about immigration law for startups together with Sophie Alcorn. She's the founder and CEO of Alcorn Law. She went to Stanford and she recently spoke at Disrupt, the big tech crunch event that happens every single year here in San Francisco. So today will be all about immigration law, whether you are interested as an individual or as a startup founder on getting talent into the United States. This is your episode. Enjoy the ride. Sophie, welcome to the Innovation Shuttle.
Hi, excited to be here.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining, first of all. I already did a quick introduction of yourself to the audience, but we always start with another round of introductions. So If you could introduce yourself, what you do. I looked at your LinkedIn, I tried to summarize it, but you did so much already. So let's kick it off with that and let's start the ride. And I already said today we will talk about immigration law and how you disrupt that market from a customer experience side.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And you're going to literally back out of this parking spot
while
absolutely. We're doing this. Okay, great.
I'm German. We can drive.
Wir können fahren.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. So my mom's from Germany and my dad was her immigration lawyer. So I've been thinking about immigration for a really long time and only realized a couple years ago that I'm a founder, because I thought, I have a traditional services business that's a law firm, and so I want to hang out with all these cool kid founders in Silicon Valley, but am I one of them? I don't know. But ultimately realized I am after just being a mission-driven person for so long.
Solving big problems. That is the ultimate question, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's super unfair that, because I'm a mom and you're a dad now, and we have our kids, and when you have that perspective shift, I look at my kids and I'm like, God, I'm so fortunate that they're born in America. And what if I had to tell my kids one day, like, oh, honey, you could go study astrophysics, but just marry an American. It'll be a faster way to get a green card.
Ouch.
Like, I would never want to tell that to my kids. And so I think it's super unfair that the, randomness of the circumstances of our birth restricts or constricts our options in the world in so many ways. And the US is only 5% of the world's population. So 95% of the people of the world are not in America. And obviously there's some really amazing places in the world and different places to go if you want to do different things. But if I could simply make it possible so that the arbitrary lines we draw on the map called borders don't, limit somebody's options for self-actualization in their lives.
Like reduce the limitations, right?
Yeah. Like if we simply had like a creator of the world global pass, where if you're like, hey, I meet XYZ criteria as somebody who's going to create value in the world. Let me go anywhere and build my companies anywhere. That would be amazing.
Yes. But unfortunately, you just said it about the kids. I'm super happy. My daughter is American. She will also be German. Those are two passports that are super powerful.
Yeah, that's great.
But it is luck. And most
it's arbitrary.
Correct.
It's.
Yeah. So what do you do to solve those problems?
We get visas and green cards for startup founders and team members at early stage startups to live and work legally in the United States. And we help people from anywhere in the world come to the United States, and our clients are both in other countries and they are currently in the US on other visa statuses, such as international students who want to be founders. I did office hours at Stanford yesterday and gave a talk at Carnegie Mellon yesterday. And also engineers and product managers at Fang Meng companies, right, who are on these visa treadmills of H-1B for decades waiting for their turn in line for a green card. So helping to liberate them to become founders and start their companies.
So pretty much people, like you just said, who meet a certain criteria, who should have the chance to be free and do what they want, you support them. And
because if by the time I die I can solve immigration and hopefully one day funding for 1,000 founders who are mission driven and impact driven and want to make the world a better place, like that would be an incredible dent to make in the world.
An amazing achievement. Absolutely. So we didn't talk about how we met. I think we met on an event from the German Berlin venture capital
scene. There are a bunch of Berlin VCs touring Palo Alto in the Bay Area.
And I mean, I myself, I love the US. I'm on my 3rd visa by now. I had an F1, I had a J1, now I'm on an L1. So I know the landscape a little bit, but still it is always this fear, and I can say many expats have that, that you're here, you have an L1, your wife maybe, or your partner maybe on an L2, and you know exactly if something goes wrong with your company, you get laid off or anything, you build a life here, you might buy a house, you might have a car and everything can end so fast. How do you address the problems that like people on L1s, H1Bs, like what is the first recommendation you give to those people to like make the first step and become active on their own?
Well, first of all, the grass is always greener. So like the people on F1 are jealous of the people on L1, and the students are like, well, I can't go to my visa renewal interview, but some executive at a company can. And then the executives are like, well, I can't go because I don't have a green card yet and I don't want to travel. So I think the first step is just for people to realize that it is an inherently scary process for people because it's your life, and it can be fundamentally so arbitrary if like one random government worker, maybe with a US college bachelor's degree, who's not familiar with your industry or your company, like your fate is in their hands. So it's pretty high stakes. So this came up a lot last year with the tech layoffs of how do people basically get like layoff insurance if they're on one of the spouse's visas, and then what happens if one gets laid off and the other's dependent on the primary, and how do they stay? And so we had to navigate that in a lot of ways for people, but I'm a big advocate for people just taking their immigration in their own hands and getting their own visa.
Which is not very common, right?
No. And nobody realizes it's possible. So like, it can't be done, so I won't do it. And I'm like, wait, please pay attention. It can be done. If you want to do it, it's possible. That was me. That's my message.
That was me when we met. Because I want to build my family here. I want to stay here for a long time. I'm in a very good situation with my employer. And I always thought my only way to staying here is through a green card with my employer.
Right. Because everybody thinks they're in this silo or this track, and so they assume that since they came with a company, they have no other options, or since they became a student, then they have to get a job at a company. But it's really not true. We get O1 visas for brilliant people in tech all the time that you can work for 3 years. We can set it up so that you can have your own company and be the CEO. You can be a consultant. You can write books and get paid. You can do speaking events and get paid. So we have ways of setting things
nobody knows.
up. And
like,
nobody knows.
I don't want to say nobody, but so many people don't know about it. It's
and you can also self-petition your own green card. And a green card's a longer process. It might take 2 to 3 years, and that's why normally people want some sort of visa first to come here sooner. But with a master's degree and a business plan, you can get a green card for yourself if you're going to help America somehow. We do that a lot for founders, scientists, researchers, artists, small business owners. There's so many ways that people are contributing to the U.S. economy and technology in different areas, arts and culture, or they have past experiences. And so we just leverage all of that to figure out the best solutions for each potential new client we talk to. But so it has to start with believing that it's possible. Absolutely.
Believing and knowing. Knowing that something is possible. If you look at that checklist you said, you were talking a lot about talented people with master's degrees. I think it's kind of a no-brainer that if you want to immigrate into a country, you have to deliver some value to that country. If you could name 3 to 5 pieces of that checklist, if somebody wants to do it themselves, what should they be focused on developing in order to establish their own immigration status?
Ooh. Okay.
'Cause everybody can say, I'm super smart.
Yeah.
But in this world, sometimes you need like a track record, right?
Right. So there's this really great book called The One Thing. And this one thing philosophy is all about like, what's the one thing I can do that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? Mm-hmm. And so I think there's actually a cultural mindset shift that is something that's distinctly American, and it's not enough to simply do that to be able to succeed with your visa or green card approval, but having that mindset will make all of the accomplishments and all of the tasks to become qualified easier. And so try to distill what it is.
Now I know why you spoke at Disrupt. It's pretty good.
Thanks. I also have a podcast. It's called the Sophie Alcorn Podcast.
It's pretty good.
Rebranding it, redoing it. So that's exciting. Okay, so I think the one thing is a mindset shift, because in other cultures, they value humility, they value respecting your elders, they value automatic respect for your colleagues, they value spending your time going up the path and checking the boxes to earn the right to do something. So I think there's this American concept that might be common with other cultures, but the one to embrace has to do with radical self-responsibility about value creation. So not just like, I'm a great student, or everybody at my company loves me, or like I got these, it's like America doesn't respect and reward rule followers.
Especially in this area of the country.
And especially culturally in this area. Yes. Yeah. And our immigration laws are such that if you want to do something on your own, you kind of have to embrace this like maverick rebel thing in your work.
Living the American dream.
You have to, and it doesn't have to be like that you're all alone on an island pulling yourself up by your bootstraps or anything, but it has to do with, and this is a very Silicon Valley thing too. Like I see a problem, I have a solution, I want to help people with my solution. I'm going to figure out economically incentivized ways to repeatedly deliver this situation to people. And I am going to put my heart and soul into personal branding around this thing. And I'm going to sell it and make it big and grow it. And so having an openness towards taking that responsibility, that's what will help you decide if you want to be a founder, create a business plan, figure out your target market, figure out what value you're going to create for America, figure out what speaking engagements you can do, how to deliver your message, what articles you want to write, what you want to say. And so there's all these like tactical things that you'll want to check off depending on which of these O1, EB1A, EB2 NAW things you do. But okay, I'll tell you the other people who have problems with this, and it's not a cultural issue. It's engineers. So it's, I guess it's the global engineering culture, but there's research engineers and applied engineers, and the research engineers are great at self-promotion and like writing papers and all of that, right? So that's fine. It's easy with them. The really hard people to help are brilliant applied engineers who are so focused on building a technology that will solve a legit solution, and it requires all of their brain cylinders firing. They get stuck between spending 3 days doing some systems architecture thing for the whatever, and then they're like, oh, I have to do this like thought leadership stuff, and they think it's BS. And it's not the solution to the, satellite in space or the whatever electric vehicle they're creating. So
that happens every now and then.
So engaging.
And then I'm also German, and sometimes the red light turning right just slips through. It's
totally different. And in Germany, they have like the yellow and red light at the same time to like warm up and get ready to go. So it's different.
Correct. I also wanted to like we have some more time to talk.
It gives us some more drama for the episode.
But this is really interesting.
Too.
I see what you're saying. It's not the natural character of those
and
people.
so and then they have to like painfully extricate themselves out of their flow state of creativity and focus into some like non-determinative, human, fluffy, like you never know if it's good enough. And so that's where having a good lawyer helps you, because you can't self-assess if you're qualified for these things. You need somebody with experience to tell you like, yes, you're qualified, go. And they're like, wait, but I haven't finished, curing cancer. How could I possibly move to the US? And you're like, no, you've already done enough.
You have the potential to solve it. You can do it.
You have people on the way, and for them, they see the distant event horizon, and they're like, I will never get there.
Yeah.
But like, they don't look back to how far they've come, and they've actually done so much, way more than a lot of their peers who might want the same.
So general recommendation would really be, if you as a viewer, listener, if you want to make that step to the US, always focus on sharing the results of your work, of your results. Make it visible to the world.
And it doesn't have to be pure. Yeah, I know.
It's like in my culture in Germany, you want the exact opposite. Most people are not sharing anything. Just do your job, and then in the end you can say, I have this degree and I worked here for 35 years and now I have to be the best.
Right. No, it's so different. Okay.
I'm the opposite.
So there's this line of like, fake it till you make it, and I don't think you should fake it, but I think you should recognize
promote it
that
until
you really
you make
are it. Like you are actually this thing already. You just need to liberate yourself to feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. And very good.
It's a really important growth edge for a lot of people.
I think that's an amazing insight. As we get closer to our destination, how can people
already? We just started talking.
I think the caffeine made it faster for you. How can people get in touch with you? That's the first thing, I think. And then the second thing, to everyone who is interested in doing their immigration themselves and take like power over their destiny, what is the one recommendation to them to wrap up?
Oh my God.
Final questions.
All right, Phil. Okay, so people, hello. You may get in touch with me through my website, which is www.alcorn.law, and you can fill out your first name and your last name and your email address, and we'll send you our questionnaire for a complimentary assessment, and we'll see if we can help you or schedule a consultation, or if we think you should take our online class, Alcorn Academy, which is 15 video modules on how you can get qualified for an ONA, EB1A, or EB2NAW. It's my online class. We also have an assessment option called Legal Launch, where we'll give you our checklist, you give us all of your evidence, and we'll help you figure out how qualified you are already, or what your personalized action plan is, so you don't have to waste your time spinning your wheels doing non-essential activities.
And here's your happy reference. I did that. I love it. I can strongly recommend it. It just gives you so much clarity.
Yay.
And it's the ultimate disruption, because I talked to multiple firms in the area, and this is like so different from what everybody else does. Because after a week or two, you know exactly where you are in your journey, what you can achieve, what you can't achieve.
Thank you.
So if anyone wants to do that, do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I realized I'm an inventor of legal products. So anyway, that's Legal Launch. And we'd love to help you. And then I have, I'm on socials, LinkedIn, X, I guess we now call it. I have a podcast, Sophie Alcorn podcast. My TechCrunch articles are all available on my website. But my piece of closing advice would be, I think that it is rare for most people to want to create something that's like way bigger than themselves. And because that is not typically culturally accepted in most parts of the world, it can be really hard to realize that that's what's going on with you before you know you're a founder. And you might just think that you have really big aspirations that are like too much, and that people don't understand you, and you don't know why you don't fit in, and you're really motivated, but you're trying to like suppress your energy to fit into other people's boxes and molds. And so for me, that was like, now that I look back, the first early warning sign that I'm a founder, and that I shouldn't play by the normal rules. And so once you're aware of that, then, you know, self-awareness is the first step. And from there, the sky's the limit. You know, whether you should have a startup, whether you should move to Silicon Valley, whatever, those are details. But getting clear with yourself and accepting it, if you are just not crushing your own spirit, just like embrace it. Like, yes, the world needs you. Please,
I talked about that topic on a podcast that I'm co-hosting last week. Like, what if growth makes you happy? Because in our society, people want you to be great, but they don't want you to be too great. Yeah. And then that's a realization I had a couple of weeks ago. I realized I don't want to relax. Like, relaxing doesn't make me happy, or reading a book sometimes. Sometimes I just want to grind. I want to grow, and it makes me happy. And I think that is a good final recommendation. If you feel like you want to grow, if you want to be the next Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, whatever.
Somebody's got to do it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. It might as well be you. So we're happy to support you.
Try it.
And we believe in you.
Thank you so much. That was great insight. Again, everyone, check them out. If you are interested in immigration into the United States, I can strongly recommend it. And yeah, I would say it's time for lunch.
Okay, let's eat. Thank you.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.